Okay guys, so we're here today to see why your insulin is still too high. What's going on? Okay guys, if that's why you're here, stay tuned. Okay guys, so what are we looking at? We're looking at the fact is you're not effectively making ketones or burning fat. Something's wrong. Your insulin is high, so we understand there's an insulin resistance. So we're going to look at that now, and so let's have a look at number one. Here we go. You're still insulin resistant. Years of high carb eating and excess body fat can take time to reverse. Insulin sensitivity improves gradually with consistency. So guys, okay, we understand that insulin is resistant. It's not reacting as it should do. So it should be just reacting to more sugar or glucose in your blood, and so your blood sugar is high, and then it responds where your insulin goes high, and vice versa. With this problem, it means you do not react this way, so you can still stay dangerously high, meaning that what happens is it will not be able to come down, and so you can't access fat burning or effectively access fat burning, and that is an issue. So what is the main idea though? Consistency. If you really are having a problem, if you keep on the diet and you keep going, your insulin levels will start to or should start to heal over time. Now, hopefully, if you have this and you're really having a problem, you should be obviously seeing your family doctor or GP, and they will be monitoring and watching and saying, yes, over a month or 2 months, you're perfectly fine, or something's happened. And that's why some people on the diet for ketosis use it to help with type 2 diabetes. So that's one thing that you have to understand, is that in fact ketosis is also used in people with diabetes. So you have to watch out for ketoacidosis if you're diabetic, and understand to watch out for certain signs. But other than that, it's seen as a way to actually help treat your diabetes type 2. Okay guys, number two, so excess calories and overeating fat. Here we go. Keto still requires energy balance. Constant overeating can reduce fat burning efficiency over time. It's not just what you eat, it's how much. So here you can see a good example of overeating versus some good, balanced eating. Now, what does it mean? Well, first of all, you still have calories, no matter what you say. Yes, you have fewer calories in just maybe protein and fat foods. Yes, they're a lot more effective, and you can satiate your appetite very easily with them. It helps you eat less and less frequently. This is 100% what causes you to actually lower, because you have actually lower calories plus lower consuming of them. But still, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, I'm just going to keep eating and eating, no, it won't work. You'll cause lots of issues. And if you go over 200 grams of proteins, you're at risk of having gluconeogenesis, which will then just produce glucose in your liver. So you have to be very careful. So don't overeat. Have good, moderate portions. So you can see here the portions here. You've got energy balance, right calories equals insulin stays low. Your insulin isn't going to have any big issues here. It's a good amount. They're all healthy fats. You've got a good mixture of, you've got a little bit of green leafy vegetables there, you've got some good healthy oils, you've got avocados, you've got nuts, you've got salmon. Fantastic. Well, looking at obviously the overeating, you can see it's too many calories, insulin stays high, you're eating huge amounts of the cheese, you're taking tons of pure fat, mayonnaise, you've got tons of butter all over your food, you've got tons of bacon, processed meats, you've got sausages, you've got everything in there, and one little bit of healthy avocado. So the whole idea is unhealthy fats are going to cause issues and inflammation, and you're not going to be probably having them as well, especially processed ones full of chemicals, and too much is still going to be too many calories. So you shouldn't be thinking, I want to eat as much as I can, so I'm going to eat until satiety. So once you have that, you're awesome. Now, when you can see these two sides here, you don't want to have any issues with burning fat. Again, don't take advantage. You've got a fantastic diet, it's super healthy, you're getting tons of fantastic energy. Number three, so here we go, not enough movement. So let's have a look down here. This is usually known as a sedentary lifestyle, and not enough movement. Movement lowers insulin, sitting keeps it high. So what can we understand here? Muscles absorb glucose, that's obvious. Movement helps muscles take up glucose from the blood, lowering insulin level. Sitting all day equals a problem. Sedentary time reduces insulin sensitivity and increases insulin resistance. Move more, feel better. Walking, strength training, and daily activity improve insulin sensitivity and overall health. So guys, what we can see here is that it's massively conducive for you to be moving. Why is this? Because you're burning energy, if you're taking in all those things into your cells for energy, you're burning them off, then you're not going for a situation where things are going slowly and being absorbed slowly, meaning you have more of them, and so your insulin is higher for longer. When you're at high insulin, you go for a run, it goes right down. Why? Because you're burning all that energy and it's disappearing and being uptaken out of your blood. So you go, oh, I need more energy, I must have low insulin. Everything's called burned fat. So this is the main idea here, guys. And if you look at the picture here, so you can see here, sitting all day, no good for you. Yeah, more sitting equals higher insulin resistance. Here, move more every day. Lower insulin, better movement, better insulin sensitivity. So your body is designed to move, use it or lose it. So what it's saying is, just like if you don't use maybe a lawnmower, what happens to it? It becomes rusty and it may have problems with its function. You know that just like this, a human has to get up and start moving. Even if you're indoors, run up and down the stairs, move around, go to the table, go to the sink, do some washing up, walk back and forward. This is the main idea. Constantly move as much as you can. So, resistance to being a couch potato, yes, again, only when you have gone into the diet and lost a lot of weight, then say, now I feel lighter, I can walk for longer, I can go out for more. So do not sit down waiting somewhere. That is the worst thing for your health. Okay guys, number 4, here we go. Protein overload. Too much protein can spike insulin in some people. Yes, 100%. We've already mentioned gluconeogenesis. This can occur where basically you don't have enough fat, your body's going, what's going on? Yes. Or you have tons and tons of protein, your body's going, well, this is tons of protein. I've got fat and protein, but tons and tons of protein. I'm going to use the protein, utilize it. It's not just for maintaining my body now, muscles. I'm going to put it to the liver to burn and to create some glucose. So that's 100% what you don't want, so be careful. So protein triggers insulin. Your body releases insulin to help process amino acids, some more than others. Now, too much equals problem. Excessive protein may keep insulin elevated and slow fat burning. Balance is key. Moderate protein, healthy fats, and low carbs equals optimal insulin response. So too much protein, excess amino acids, higher insulin may spike insulin and slow fat burning. Now, here we go. Right amount of protein, amino acids in balance, normal insulin supports muscle, lower insulin promotes fat loss. So protein is important, but more is not always better. Find the sweet spot that suits you. So too much protein, usually 200 grams going upwards, depending on your size, weight. So again, you have to obviously find the information suited to you. And then what happens is then you will see, if you start getting ketosis, you go, oh, I had tons of protein, you know your answer. This is the main idea. Make sure when you turn around and you understand it, you say, okay, I've got it. Lots of protein, yes, is going to end up me just going, I've got too much protein, I'll put it to use. I'll burn it and make glucose. There you go. So your body's smarter than you think. Okay, so moving on to number 5, liquid calories. So the hidden reason your insulin stays too high. Liquid calories are easy to overconsume and don't satisfy hunger, leading to higher insulin and more fat storage. So let's have a look here. Creamy coffees, healthy smoothies, juices, sweet drinks, alcohol and mixed drinks. All of these foods are obviously something you would usually avoid in keto, but you are still probably making creamy coffees and all these different types of maybe keto smoothies. So what you have to understand is these are easy to increase. If you have a keto milkshake, stick to the 1 dose. Don't go over it. The more you get into these things, the more you accidentally go, oh, I'm thirsty, I'll drink another one. Bam, you're out of ketosis. This is the whole idea. These are going to sneakily increase your insulin and stop your fat burning. So again, liquid calories are very important to look at. So using creamers, using all these things, yes, they've got tons of carbs and more carbs in another form. So be very cautious. Okay, and don't forget as well, a lot of these, especially ones that give you a lot of protein, are going to be adding to your protein, so beware. Okay guys, so water, sparkling water, black coffee or tea, keep insulin low and fat burning high. Focus on whole foods, drinks to nourish, not to calorie load. Okay guys, so I hope you liked this video. Thumbs up please and subscribe. Any questions, pop them down into the comments. And guys, I'll see you on the next one.